Well, Ms. Peterson, I'm glad that you could find the time to come in today. This is always a hard conversation to have. As you know, Doug has been caught with another group of boys. He's been smoking marijuana. We caught him on the school grounds. And that is grounds for suspension here. Yes, yes. One of the teachers caught him. I don't know who had the joint. I don't know if it was Doug or if it was one of the other boys, but we have a zero drug tolerance policy here at the high school. So anybody caught doing drugs or in possession of drugs has to have a 2-week suspension. Yes. He was with, oh yes, oh, he was with, let's see, he was with John Barnes. He was with Cliff Nolte and Doug Milloway. I don't know, do you know those boys? I know, it's really hard for parents to sort of accept that their child is experimenting with drugs. But honestly, it's very common at this age. Um, it's not a horrible thing, or not unusual for a child, 16-year-old boys especially, to be experimenting with marijuana. I have to say that it's probably readily accessible within that age group. It's always surprising to parents. I think most parents don't even suspect that this might be going on. And we have no way of knowing if this was the first time. We have no way of knowing if this has been a regular thing. All it is that we're dealing with a school policy here that says we have zero tolerance for any drug use within the school, and we wanted to make sure that we talk to you in person about it. Well, let me be clear here. As far as I know, he's fine academically. That there isn't anything in particular that we have concerns about with his grades. This is merely a behavioral issue at this point, but we think it's really good to let the parents know, because an intervention at this point will give him the opportunity to keep his grades up. If we were to do nothing, or if we were to not respond to this in any way, shape, or form, it's likely that the experimentation would continue and then he would suffer academically. I'd have to say the 2-week suspension policy is he cannot attend school. He cannot be on the school grounds. Our expectation is that he will keep up with his studies. So the instructors in his classes will be providing you with a list, and I think they sometimes do this on email. Actually, it's sometimes easier to give a list of assignments. So the expectation is he will be studying from his book. He will be completing assignments, either by you dropping them off here at the school, or email, some way negotiate with the teachers to get the assignments back. And the expectation is that he will complete his studies on time. It's difficult to know, yes, it's difficult to know how to respond, especially if this is the first time as a parent. Um, I think your first instinct to sit down with him and have a conversation is probably the best thing that you can do, first up. It's important for parents to let their kids know how they feel about the use of recreational drugs or the use of illegal drugs, drinking, smoking. I don't know if you've had that conversation with him at this point, but seems like a good time to really take advantage of the moment and let him know where you stand on these issues. So I'd say that's the first thing that I would recommend that you do, is have that conversation. Beyond that, certainly the idea of taking away a privilege makes a lot of sense. And given that he is 16, that he has just gotten his license, driving is probably the #1 privilege for kids of his age. How long, I really can't say for you. A month may be too much. It really can be your own sense. I don't know if you want to start with a longer term and then time off for good behavior. It's difficult for me. It's really a decision within the family. Actually, that is true. The school policy has, again, because we're a zero tolerance school, normally we would expect that even one offense would remove the child from the school. We've chosen not to do that in this point. What we've chosen to do is the 2-week suspension. If he is caught again on the school grounds with an illegal substance, he will be expelled. We are mandated to report this information. Generally, what we try to do, and I think in this case, we'll probably have that conversation with, we have a school officer here. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to meet him. But we have a school officer on the grounds. And in this case, what he will do is make a report. He'll go ahead and write up a report. There probably will be a fine involved, but I don't know if there'll be a court appearance. I doubt it. And yes, it will go in his record here at the high school, I'm afraid. Because he's a juvenile, he will have a record at the police station. He'll have a record here in his file, but once he's 18, basically his record over at the police station disappears, because once he reaches the age of maturity, they don't keep it on file. So as long as he doesn't get caught again, as long as he doesn't have another offense on his record, he should be just fine. Now, we have tried to convey to him and the other boys just how serious this is. They may or may not really understand what that means. So again, if there's anything you can do to sort of reinforce the idea that this is very serious. And it's serious in several ways. It's serious because it's an illegal substance, #1. It's a mood-altering substance. And that damage, there can be physical damage just from the use of marijuana. I think kids think that there's no lasting problems with it, and there has been evidence that there could be physical problems in the future if he continues it. And also, it's pretty standard that once kids start experimenting with a drug of one kind, they will more than likely continue to experiment with harder and harder drugs. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll become an addict, but it just is likely, more likely, that they'll be doing that experimentation. So it seems like a good time to nip it in the bud. Well, I know it's shocking. I wouldn't expect anything less from a parent than to be surprised and shocked. So it's a lot of information to deal with. We do have some forms that we'll be sending with Doug and you about the suspension, about the charges. So we'll have to get your signature on a couple of those. It'll just give you a little bit more time to process it. If you want, I'm available anytime for discussion about any of the issues that Doug might be dealing with, to help you through the process if you'd like. I'm certainly more than willing to sit down with the two of you if you'd like me to be a part of a conversation like that. That would be fine too. But Doug's a good kid. Yes, we have to deal with it. Yes, it's serious, but we'll get through it. It'll be all right. All right, well then I'll wait to hear from you. If you need me, just contact me, email, phone, whatever works for you. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in today. I know it's a difficult conversation, but I'm very glad that you were here. You're welcome. Thank you.